We built this 12-foot outboard skiff designed by Paul Gartside at the Wooden Boat Centre Tasmania using Huon Pine and other local Tasmanian timbers. The Wooden Boat Centre is in the town of Franklin on the Huon River south of Hobart, a particularly beautiful part of the world, and has been maintaining the traditions of wooden boat building since the early 1990s. After setting up the transom, stem and temporary moulds on the keel, it was time to line off for planking. That is, deciding exactly where the planks would go. This is done by bending thin battens around the hull in the positions where we expect the clinker planks to overlap. It's important with clinker planking that it looks right. In my book Wooden Boat Building, I go through the method of determining the plank widths, which is basically dividing the visible girth by the number of planks and then adjusting for a few factors. And you should also look at episode 5 of my traditional clinker construction series on SmithysBoatshed channel. So we marked the moulds on one side with the figures we came up with, then tacked battens to represent the laps, and had a good look at them from all angles. We adjusted a few of the positions to improve the look of the run of the planking, and then transferred any corrections to the moulds.
I think there might be something going on with that. I reckon that one. No, the one for, yeah, at station 3. At 3? Yeah, or that could be.
Paul Gartside called for the boat to be built upside down, and he's right. While my default position would be to build a clinker boat right way up, with this boat being quite flat-bottomed and carrying its beam well aft, upside down makes sense because we would be working downhand. So we simply rolled the boat over because the jig we referred to as the boatisserie was designed by Cody Horgan to do just that. We had to make a few adjustments to the top of the widest moulds to clear the floor.
Take 5. Rolling drums, I think we got it. Oh, look at that. Close. One sec. Yep. You on the right side of that? Yeah. There we go. Okay, then hang on one sec. Okay, it's right to come up. Ready? Yeah, can you put that back aside? Yeah, get it? Take it aside.
We then selected and deep ripped and machined our Huon Pine planking from the centre's stock. Huon Pine and the Huon River are named after this dude, Jean-Michel Huon de Kermadec, an early French explorer of the area. Huon Pine is an extremely durable timber with a distinctive pleasant smell and is a real pleasure to work, but it's becoming quite rare. Open the boards out. Oh, lovely. We found the shape of the first plank by the process of spiling, which I go into thoroughly in my book and in episode 5 of the traditional clinker construction video, and you'll see a bit of it here. To make the best use of our plank stock, we actually spiled the garboard, the first plank, on the thick plank stock before deep ribbing it. A plywood spiling batten has arcs marked on it on the boat with a set of compasses. Then these marks are transferred to the plank stock, joined with a batten around nails and marked and cut out. The backbone of the boat had to be prepared to receive the plank. It has to lie firmly on the stem, the keel batten and the transom. It's a constantly changing bevel. I usually leave the fine-tuning, especially of the stem, until the plank is ready to fit. Again, it's described in my book. There's a strong twist in the first plank, so it required steaming. This is the setup we used. An electric wallpaper steamer pumps steam into an insulated tube. These planks were in for about half an hour and bent easily. The planks were cut slightly oversized at this point.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful.
It all has to happen pretty fast before the plank cools off.
You've got stations on this. Stations about there, yep. Oh.
Well, just hold it there while you bend it. Hold it down while you bend it. No, it's not down there. We left the planks to cool overnight and then shaped them for the final fit next day. Though with some planks, later, we started work on them just a couple of hours after steaming.
That's it, beautiful. You got it? That's lovely, mate. Yeah.
We'll go through the whole process later, but once the garboard was dry fitted and proved to be correct, we sanded the inside surface, applied a low modulus polyurethane sealant to the landing area, in this case Seeker Pro in sandstone colour, and clamped and fastened it in place. You'll notice that the beveled landing for the next plank is already done. More about this later.
Okay, no.
Once both garboards were on, we started work on the next plank straight away. The second plank also needed steam bending for the twist, as did the third. We spiled each of these planks, cut them slightly oversized and then fine-tuned them after steaming. Meanwhile, another project at the centre, John's Percy sailing dinghy, was ahead of us in the number of planks on. I have to say, they did start before us. This boat is clinker planked in plywood and glued together. By the time we got to the fourth plank, we needed wider stock to accommodate the curve that was developing. Each plank was bevelled for a landing for the next plank, mostly using a block plane. We usually started this on the first dry fit after drilling the fastening holes and pinning the plank in place with clamps and temporary nails by getting the bevel exactly right at each mould. Then we'd fair it in on the bench. But it can be done on the boat after the plank is fastened off, and we did this on a couple of planks for variety. Both ends of each plank has to be rebaited so that the planks fit flush at the ends. These rebaits are referred to as gerrals, and it's a big subject which I've covered pretty thoroughly in my book and videos. We kept planking and we were up to the sixth plank before we had no need to steam. This plank bent around quite easily cold. About this time, John's boat was completely planked up and we helped him turn it over so that John and Sarah could start working on the interior. And it was also school holiday time in Tasmania, so the centre's Peter Schmeld led a family from Hobart through the process of building their own tortured plywood canoe, bending pre-cut panels with the aid of steam. We'll see the finished canoe in the next episode. We kept on planking. Here we are spiling the 7th plank and marking it out. At this point, the planks are quite S-shaped. But it sort of disappears on the boat. We didn't rove most of the nails. The nail itself was enough to hold the planks together, but we did rove a few of them that needed help. The landings on the transom need to stay at least 1 plank ahead so your block plane can get access. The last 2 planks were not spiraled. We simply clamped the stock around the moulds and drew the line of the edge of the previous plank underneath. I'd normally do this any time the plank stock can easily bend and twist without steaming. Here we're getting ready to fit the shear plank, so these are the last gerralds and bevels we'll be doing. And of course the landing on the stem needs a bit of fine tuning. As does the plank itself. And as always, we bent the plank around and clamped it in place and drilled for the fastenings before taking it off and refitting it on a bed of polyurethane sealant. So that was the end of week 4. The following Monday we cleaned up the area to turn the boat back over to begin the fit out.
Yeah, just got a T-pusher. Hang on, something on the other
Hang on, check the might be just that. Yeah, got it. Oh yeah, we're good. More. Yes,
There's still all the plates to go. Next episode, we'll start to clean up the inside of the boat. We'll rove over all of the plank fastening. And we'll steam all of the Huon Pine ribs.
about fairly even. Yep.
Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Smithy's Boat Shed.